This conference will now be recorded.
Perfect. So the purpose of today's session is to go over the in-person visit. So once somebody arrives, then what's our process, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we discussed this briefly before, but obviously they come in, we greet them warmly with our SSS protocol, which is stand, smile, say something sincere. Then they're guided over to the sales desk. At that point, then you go through your whole process of questionnaire, club tour, and proposal. So at that point, you should be taking their signature and getting our waiver release signed, as well as retrieving a form of identification. So if we just look through the whole process here of what are brand standards and what we get evaluated on.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one moment. That's not it. I apologize for the delay here.
Yeah, it's all good.
We'll use Irwindale as a guinea pig here. I can't find it for whatever reason. There it is. So the whole process is outlined here, right? So obviously there's the first impression, then we go through the questionnaire. So first impression, prospect is warmly greeted following our stand, smile, say something sincere protocol. Prospect signs a waiver form. Prospect provides a form of ID. If the manager on duty is busy, then the prospect is guided over to a waiting area, your lounge, and is given instructions on next steps, kind of like you would at a doctor's office. Or if you don't mind, sign our waiver release. Our manager will be with you in the next 5 to 10 minutes. If the manager on duty is there's another manager available, then the prospect should be guided over to the secondary manager. Now, if the manager is not busy, then we go through our process at the sales desk. And then once at the sales desk, then we get their contact information, name, email, phone number, and we confirm and verify those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Questions so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the next phase is the questionnaire phase. So while at the desk, the manager and prospect are seated at the sales desk throughout the questionnaire process. What we've seen is some managers take the liberty to have a sales conversation outside of the desk. So we want that to be done at the sales desk consistently. Manager starts the sales process by introducing themselves and welcoming prospect to the club. Then the manager frames the conversation. They go through something like this. So they frame the sales conversation. Hey, Mr. Prospect, Miss Prospect, I'm going to ask you a few questions to get a better understanding of what brought you into the gym today. Then we'll go through a quick tour of the facility to show you what services and equipment we offer. And then after that, we'll return back to the desk so I can share with you our membership options. Then you ask for their consent. Is that fair? Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So the whole reason for that is, anybody that's going into a potential sales presentation has a certain level of anxiety. So going ahead and framing the entire conversation relieves that. Also, you'll get people that are, give me the price, give me the price, give me the price. Well, you know what? Let's go through the whole process first, right? You don't say that, but you go through exactly what is kind of here in this script. Now, as with any script, this is something I'll repeat down the road. You don't have to say this verbatim, right? The more genuine you are when you present, the better that will be. So use your words, but have this guideline. Ask you a few questions, show you the gym, then I'll show you different membership options. Does that sound good? You can change it up, obviously. Questions about framing the conversation?
No.
Oh, none.
Perfect. Then once you set a table of contents of what you're about to do in the sales presentation, then you start with the first part, which is the discovery phase, right? So you go through the discovery phase to understand the prospect's value system. And you use the membership questionnaire as a template. What I was saying earlier is don't go through it script by script and sound robotic about it. Study the script. So that way you know it already and you can navigate it more organically through your conversation. So if we review the script, it's designed to overcome these most frequent objections, which is price, schedule, urgency, and decision making, right? So how do we overcome the price objection? We build up enough perceived value in their eyes. And what's valuable to one person may not translate and be valuable to somebody else. So in the discovery phase, that's when you start asking your questions and continue to probe to find out what's in it for them, right? And during the discovery phase, you can also overcome the schedule objection by asking them, when do you typically use the gym? Something along those lines, or when do you anticipate being able to come in based on your schedule? So it's more specific to them rather than, just showing them our entire schedule and be like, oh, this is our entire schedule. Make it specific to them. Urgency. So these are the people that say, oh, let me think about it, or let me get back to you. Oh, yeah, I like it. I'll follow up with you in a week or two. Well, if we did our due diligence in that discovery phase to really understand their level of commitment, because they each came with a certain goal, right? They wanted to overcome a challenge that they weren't able to overcome elsewhere, and they wanted a place that would help them achieve their personal goals for themselves, right? So those are the two things, pain points and rewards. That's how people are motivated. So in order for us to overcome urgency, let's find out their level of commitment to reaching those goals or avoiding those roadblocks. So that's built into the questionnaire. And another one is decision making, right? You're going to get people, oh, let me talk to my wife. I have to talk to my mom. I have to talk to my dad. Those things, right? We've all heard those before. So in order to overcome that, we can do our due diligence and find out who's the decision maker in this whole process. So that way, we're not wasting our sales time to somebody that's ultimately not going to be able to pull the trigger at the end of it. I know I spoke for a while there. Any questions about any of that?
No.
No, all sounds good.
Sasha? Perfect. And feel free to chime in, from your perspective, what you see. I would love to hear from you guys, as far as any of this. Is there any other objections that you've frequently heard that we can kind of address as well?
No, these are pretty spot on, to be perfectly honest. We kind of hear them from different people, different types of people. The last ones, most of the, decision maker comes into when we're dealing with families and things of that nature. Sense of urgency, that's something that we've started to kind of do through, different promotions and things like that by promoting whatever promotion we have going on, wrapping that or putting that into the questionnaire, into the sales process. So we try to create a sense of urgency that way. Scheduling, we haven't really run into that too much. It just kind of makes it to where people are not going to come in this day, but they're willing to come in another time. And price, a little bit with price, but for the most part, no one has really been off put by that. It's just really for the people that I encountered, it's just really been about the commitment and the value that their child may take from it. We can show we can have a great presentation, we can have a great group session going on, and the games are going great. However, if the child doesn't show the parent that they want it and that they're going to commit to it every day, then that's something that we really generally run into price about. It's more
Right.
so about people, they're not really sure of their level of commitment and how they were willing to do things, but price hasn't really been an issue for us. Most of the people that we encounter,
Perfect.
they're okay with that. They understand that. It's just really making sure that their kid or whomever is going to take advantage of it to there where they really can see the value of it. So that's really been my biggest one that I've run into.
Perfect.
Is that aspect.
Oh, that's terrific feedback. That means that, you're valuable and you're doing your thing. Now, the case may be that we're not going to be a perfect fit for everybody. And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Some will, some won't. So what? Next. And that
right.
We can say that confidently if we're marketing well and prospecting well and we're continuously feeding our pipeline. But if the value is there and that at the end of it, it's just not the right fit for them, that wasn't a fault of our own, right? That's just, we're not going to be a perfect fit for everybody.
Yeah, it's just the luck of the draw at that point.
That's right. Natasha, how about you? Anything that you've encountered?
Those are the main ones. Price, schedule, the urgency relative to, I don't know if I will be able to stick with it. I typically don't stick with gyms. And that's usually the opportunity to find out how long, where's the pain point? How long have you been trying to get in shape or build your endurance, or how long has it been since the doctor told you need to get in shape? So those four are typically the main objections to overcome.
Right. So it seems like price and schedule has kind of solved itself for you guys. Is that right? From what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
It's mainly urgency and decision making.
The last ones that I've encountered, the past couple of days, I really haven't had people come through the door. So we haven't gone through that process with people in the past couple of days. But the last one that I had was a decision making. He wanted to check with his wife. Then the wife called in to verify everything of how amazing we were. So now it's just to, reach out to them today to make sure that they're coming through this evening, and really just trying to take it from that point to see what we can do to get them in here and keep them in here. So, like I said, the past couple of days, it's just really been prospecting for the most part, calling people on the tail end, and that's going well. I've been reaching people, and it's just a matter of just, like I said, more than anything with my list, where I'm at with my list, is just the luck of the draw. They've moved out of town. Some people weren't as interested as they thought they were. So things of that nature, more so from prospecting this week. But it changes, every week, just because it's person to person, it varies on a case-to-case basis. So
that's right.
But the last thing that I've encountered lately has been the decision making. And still just following up with those people, even after they said that, 2 or 3 days kind of in between.
During their visit. So absolutely. Yeah, they love it. Specifically for, when they arrive at the gym. So what you're saying is sometimes
we've gone through everything. They love it. They're into it. And then it comes down and it's just like, and they reassure me through the process, like, price isn't a big deal. Price isn't a big deal. How much of that is ego or whatever? No one wants to admit where they are with their finances. That's perfectly fine. But as we get into the nitty gritty of it, okay, let's get you signed up. I want to do it right now. Let me talk to my wife. And the other one was, okay, I see the value in it. I still want to compare it to the other options that I have in the area. I want to make sure that my son is really about it and that he's really going to do this, because he was a soft-spoken kind of kid, So then it was, okay, well, let me talk to his dad and make sure that, we can do this and all of that. So that was, both of those prospects pretty much came in around the same day, Sunday, Monday. And both of them said that they would come in today. So I reached out to both of them midway point, just to follow up with them, make sure, reassure that they were coming in. And then after we get off the phone here, I'm going to reach out to them again, probably when they get off of work, and just to see, where they're at with things and if they're going to stop in. And then from there, I'm just going to kind of go through my own process of what to do now that we've got them in the door. How can we solidify this?
Right.
So that's just where I'm at. Yeah, that's just where I'm at with those things, whether it be, a nice little quick workout, just a little something, just to take it over the top, if needed. Sometimes it may not even be needed, but it's just a way to reassure them that they've made the right decision.
Yeah, no, it makes absolute sense. So it's good that you've gone through some of these kind of obstacles in the sales process. Now it's just, okay, what can we do to improve the next time we have that? So maybe we can avoid that altogether, or if as you guys know, prospects tend to lie. So we have to be able to identify, is it a smokescreen, what they're saying, their objection?
Right.
Because like you said, they're embarrassed about their financial situation and they're not willing to divulge that. Or is it reality? Are they not the decision maker? Do they really need to go higher up the chain to be able to have someone make that decision for them before they can move forward? In either case, you need to be prepared, right?
I think it's a little bit of that, and I think also we're just in a time in society where it's not one decision maker anymore. A lot of it is more, we're one of us makes the money, another one watches the kids, so we're both equal partners in this thing. So they got to make sure that they're both on the same page with a lot of the decisions. A lot of families are moving in that direction now, And so and it's just, like I said, it's still case by case. You'll have some that are like that and others that are like, dude, this is what I do. I'm making the decision, and I've run into those. And, mom's like, all right, he's playing. Forget it. I'll sign him up. If he don't want to take it, he can cancel it anytime. All right, let's do it. Cool, boom. So I'm running
there's not one solution fits all type category, right? Everyone's different. So, the more prepared we are for those varieties, the more successful we can be. So now that we've encountered all those, now it's just, okay, trying to problem solve, what can we do better? So we can identify that right off the bat, so we can figure out a solution if it is real, right? If it is a smokescreen, we should not be afraid to be blunt and, call them out in a polite way to get to the truth, right? So we'll get to that. Again, this is, I want to get to you guys specifically, but I'm also kind of sharing this as part of a library to share with all the others these as well. So if you don't mind, bear with me as I go through the rest of the requirements here and our membership questionnaire, and then we'll specifically tackle those challenges a little later on. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you guys. So, Natasha, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to hear you out. Did you have anything to add?
No, I just said that works. Yeah, I'm following everything that you guys are doing.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the discovery phase, with us understanding exactly what the prospects are going to say or do, if we do all our work, then we'll be better off, right? So the membership questionnaire is designed as a template to go through that, but feel free as you build, your experience to go off on tangents to understand and have an organic conversation to block those objections in this phase before they have a chance to bring them up later on. So we'll go through more of that in detail, right? The best way to, is to be an active listener, right? The best salespeople display a ton of empathy, right? They're able to put themselves in the shoes of the person they're talking to, so they can see it through their eyes, right? And the best way to really do that is not just rest on their surface answer, right? The answer to the first question you asked, but continue to probe, to dive deeper into those challenges that they may have that's preventing them from signing up, or it could be a potential obstacle for them to sign up, right? So you can do that through techniques like mirroring, which is reflecting some of the words that they use in their first response, and changing the intonation of it to ask it in a question form so they can dive deeper into it, or using labeling techniques like, oh, it seems like, or it sounds like, and reflecting back what they were saying, just so you can get them to say, oh, that's right, right? Because once you get them to think that or say that, that means they feel understood. And that means you've earned their trust and they're willing to work with you. Right? And then obviously, like we mentioned before, not everyone's going to be a proper fit, right? Some people, this is not, aligned with what they're looking for, but that's okay, right? Let's not waste our time on those folks. So the sooner we're able to identify that, we can be polite and allow them the free trial, but now we can focus on, prospects that are going to give us the higher likelihood of making money, right? So whether that be focusing on our time on more prospecting activities, or there's other people in the door that are higher likelihood, let's focus on that rather than focus on the poor shots, right? Like the half court shots. Let's focus on our layups. So we do that by being able to qualify them quickly and determining if they're actually a fit. And then obviously the purpose of this call specifically is to learn how to effectively block these objections, right?
Right.
And then with all that, then we go through our tour, which, you guys have a ton of value in your services, like you had mentioned. So I'm really proud to have seen that, which is going to bode you well, because like you said, Natasha, from our previous conversation, it almost sells itself if it's the right fit, right? So before you walk around to the physical tour, though, I'm sorry?
No, I was just saying absolutely.
Okay,
it sells itself.
I'm sorry, Natasha, I keep hearing you while, I just start talking, so I apologize. So prior to walking around the tour, right after you finish the membership questionnaire, that's a great segue is to present our club schedule at that time, right? And so you've already kind of asked your, when you anticipate using the gym. Now you can align it visually with our club schedule from a high level perspective of how that fits with our services, and then actually have a physical tour of the gym immediately after, right? And the tour is catered to what they told you is valuable to them in the discovery phase. And if they're interested in a particular thing, feel free to have them demo it briefly, just so it's not just you lecturing them on how they can use the gym, but they can feel it themselves. They can experience it, right? Have that first person perspective. Oh, this makes sense, And then once you conclude the tour, as you're returning back to the desk, their emotions are high. Their perceived value of the gym should be high at that point. So that's when you want to take advantage and bring them back to the desk, right? Because that's all sales is, making sure you're transferring your emotion about what you're selling to your prospect. So when it's high enough to your level, take advantage of it and bring them back to the desk. And as you come back to the desk, have a pre-commitment from them, something along the lines, hey, based off everything you saw, do you see the gym as a good fit for you, right? So before you make the offer, you're getting a pre-commitment from them. Sorry, I'll let you take that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to pause the.
Thank you for calling. Pick up. Okay, what? Yeah. Yeah, as a reference. Sorry about that, Paula.
No worries, no worries. That's money right there, though. So leads are always money.
Yeah.
I'd rather focus on that.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
you know, yeah, absolutely. I'm with you.
So that's the pre-commitment, and then throughout the tour, you want to be assumptive of the sale. So use language, or once you sign on, we'll give you a member number so you can sign up for the games. Something along those lines. Does that make sense? Natasha,
Yes, it does.
Perfect. All right, so moving forward, that's the tour. Then when we return back to the desk, we kindly seat them back at the desk. And then our offer, your guys' offer, you have your offer sheet. You just make the quick proposal, and you're focusing on the specific package that makes the most sense from them, based off everything you've learned in the discovery phase. And then once you make the offer, then just be quiet, because in any negotiation, the first person that tends to talk tends to be on the losing end of the negotiation. Right. And that proposal should be quick, should be less than 60 seconds, if that at all, right? Because they can read. You're just basically pointing out specifically which package you feel is the best fit for them, right? Now, only if necessary, then we have our negotiation workflow tactics that you can overcome certain pricing objections, but you said that hasn't really been much of an issue for you guys. Only if they request for their trial, at that point we'll allow them their free demo. So what I've seen from other clubs is, they take them through the tour and then they let them go out on the demo without asking for the sale initially. So that's a mistake. Sometimes you can close before they require a demo, right? So if that's the case, get the deal done right then and there. Why not? Now, if they said, oh, I actually came in for a free guest pass and I wanted to try things out, I'd be happy to have you try it out, right? Especially if you believe in the value of the services that you're offering, which you should, which I do, because I've seen it. So if that's the case, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm excited for you to try it out. Let me ask you, before you go out there, what specifically are you looking to see or determine to help you make your decision? So that way you avoid the let me think about it later on, because we've already unpacked everything, right? So that's where it says it here. Prior to the trial, the manager will determine specifically what the prospect is looking to experience to make a decision whether or not to move forward with the membership, right? So yeah, I'd encourage you to try out the group workout. I'd encourage you to try out the officiated games. I encourage you to work out. Before you go, let me ask you, what are the things that you're looking to see or feel to make your decision? And then they'll tell you, oh, I'm looking to make sure my kid really likes it, and that he's engaged. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go talk to Mike. Hey, they'll sign up if that kid feels engaged, or whoever's running the group workout, right? Or if it's an officiated game, I just want to make sure that, the competition is good, or that, that the refs know what they're doing, right? So if that's the case, obviously I should have onboarded everybody properly, so I'll have full confidence in it. But, it doesn't hurt. Hey, during that 2-minute period, hey, these guys are trials. They're looking to see if, they'll sign on if they get a good experience.
Right.
So things like that.
Okay.
Any questions about that?
No.
Natasha?
No questions for me.
Perfect. Then throughout that requested trial period, the manager will have consistent touch points to ensure a positive experience, right? So based off what they just told you and everything they told you during the discovery phase, while they're going through their demo, you're observing, you're watching to see if what they're looking for is being met, right? And if you need to encourage it along, go out there and say, hey, how's everything going? Things like that. That may make an impact on their ultimate decision down the road. So have consistent touch points throughout their trial period. Now, the trial period is only one trial. They get one group workout or one officiated game. The mistake that I've seen other clubs do is they allow a trial, especially for the officiated games, play for the whole day. So by the end of the day, there's no incentive for them to sign up that day because they already got a free day, right? So there's nothing to kind of latch them on to making a decision at that point. So it's easy for them to say, oh, let me get back to you on that. But, if they got that good experience, just a little bit of a taste of it, and they enjoyed that appetizer, now bring them back to the desk. You have to pay for the full meal now.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Right? So that's a big mistake that I've been seeing across the other clubs. The trial is specifically for one game. Now, obviously, this is not a hard and fast rule. Like we mentioned, Duran, not every trial is the same. Some trials really need to gain that extra game to assess and make their decision. If you've identified that, fine. Go ahead. Hey, you know what? Get another game in. Right? If you feel confident that that's going to advance the sale for you. Because ultimately, this is for us to make money. Right? And if they need more time to make that decision, to resolve their issues, to get that experience, to make them feel confident about committing, fine. But most people tend to be able to make that decision after one trial. Okay?
Yeah.
And then after the trial, the prospect is brought back to the desk and the manager proceeds to close. Right? And then it should be easy at that point, right? Because if we did our job, all the expectations that they were looking to see and looking to determine, we should have fulfilled that. So at that point, they should close if necessary, especially if price is an objection, and, they have other considerations and whatever kind of reasons, whether it be valid or not, if you need to go to a supervisor to help you close the deal, you can go ahead and do that. But regardless of what the decision is, whether they decide to move forward or not, we remain friendly and provide next steps nonetheless. Specific next steps. So any question about that step-by-step process of the in-person presentation?
No.
Natasha?
None there.
Awesome.
None there.
So now this is returning back to the discovery phase. So again, this is the script. I'm sure you guys have studied this already, but just going to review it for everybody else's sake, I want you to just study it and make it your own. Be genuine, be organic as possible, right? So the first set of questions are just softball questions because no one wants to answer probing questions right off the bat. You haven't earned their trust yet, right? So the first set of questions is just to get them to bring their walls down. So simple softball question. Hey, how'd you hear about the club? Oh, is this for you or is this for your son or for somebody else? Again, going back to the decision making, right? Just getting kind of a precursor to that. Oh, are you from this area? Do you live around this area? Again, a precursor for the schedule, right? Objection that we all know we're going to get. And then finding out what's valuable to them. Did I speak on this before, what a WIFM is?
Yes.
No.
Well, I don't know. It's what's in it for me.
That's right.
Okay, that makes sense.
What's in it for me? That's the radio station that everybody's dialed into. No one cares about you. All they care about is them, right? So that's our job, is to be dialed into their WIFM. What's in it for me or what's in it for them, right? So what motivated you to come into our gym today, right? Is it basketball, fitness, a little bit of both? Because like you said, everybody's different. So let's find out what makes them unique, right? And a good way to address, how they may use this club or their challenges and their goals is to understand their past experience, right, with something of a similar product. So a similar product is a past gym experience or playing at a park elsewhere. hey, if they're interested in basketball, where do you play or where have you played, right? Or if they're interested in fitness or a little bit of both, okay, have you had a gym membership before? Do you have a gym membership now, right? How do you enjoy your experience over there? So as far as the sales process, it's kind of counterintuitive, but we never want to bash our competition. That never works, right?
Mm-hmm.
My wife makes me watch The Bachelor. Have you guys ever watched The Bachelor?
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I haven't. No.
Well, that's because you're
Okay.
the woman. It's normally the guys that end up watching these things. If it's
Right.
like
So
yeah.
So they're all competing for this one bachelor or bachelorette, right? So some take the tack of bashing the other woman or the other men, if that's the case, and those people never win. And there's a reason for that, right? Don't focus on the competition, focus on yourself, but understand how they view the competition. So you can incorporate that into what you do. Does that make sense?
Microsoft.
There was a purpose to my bachelor analogy.
Gotcha.
It wasn't just throwing it out there.
No, that's perfect. It makes perfect sense. It's almost a difference in the two leading computer companies. Apple isn't concerned about anybody else, but the other one is more concerned about beating Apple. So they're never going to.
That's right. That's right. Oh, we're the Apple killer. Oh, well, no, be the leader in your industry, so you don't have to be that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right? Now, if they do have bad experiences elsewhere, we're not the ones bashing them, but we are opening up the table for them to bash that other company for themselves, right? By asking questions, by asking probing questions. Oh, how's your experience over at LA Fitness? Oh, it's kind of a hit or miss. And remember what I said about mirroring before? It's just using the last 3 or so words that they use, but changing the intonation. So if they say it's a hit or miss, I could say something, hit or miss? Use the same words as they did, but I changed it to be in a form of a question, right? And now they're going to respond back why it was a problem. And now they're going to convince themselves why that was an issue, which means that they're telling you they're looking for an alternative solution, which could be us.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So continue to probe using those mirroring techniques or labeling techniques. So if he said, oh, yeah, it's been a hit or miss. Oh, it seems like you're not fully satisfied with your experience over there. Well, yeah, I can't really bring my kids over there because they have an age restriction. So I want, someplace to train for my son. So do you see how that works?
Yeah.
I'm using what they said, but I'm rephrasing it using either a mirror technique or a labeling technique. It seems like, it sounds like, it feels like. And I'm rephrasing what they just said and kind of changing it to probe even further. Tell me more. Tell me more. Sometimes you don't even need to use words. Sometimes you can use nonverbal cues like shrugging your shoulders or having a look of inquisitiveness, right? And they'll open up to you. So now this is all information that you can use in your tour and use in your close because, whatever objections they may have, they're already resolving those issues on their own without you having to do anything. It's like a Jedi mind trick.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So with basketball, same thing here. You can probe further with any of these questions. These are the surface layer answers. The first answer that they say to any of these is just the surface layer answer, right? If you cut an onion in half, it's the top layer. It's your job to keep probing, mirroring, labeling, nonverbal cues to keep unpacking to get to that core of the onion, right? So all of these are designed to build value. Well, not to build value, but to understand their value. So we can use that and build value in the presentation. Does that make sense? So in the discovery phase, we shouldn't be talking for an extended period of time. We should have a 15 to 24-second shot clock in our head. right? When I do my mirroring or labeling techniques, that takes 4 or 5 seconds at most, right? So all I'm doing is opening them up to talk to me. I'm like a psychologist or a doctor. I just ask questions. They're sitting on the couch and they're revealing their deepest, darkest, inner core values. So they have nothing to hide. There's no smoke screen that's going to surprise me later on in the conversation. Oh, you know what? Let me think about it. Well, there's nothing to think about because we've already thought it through. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, as far as urgency, a great trick that I like to use is giving a scale, right? Okay, so now you understand their pain points. Now you understand their goals. Okay, Mr. Customer, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to finding a solution for those challenges and reaching your goals? Right? And they're going to give you a spectrum. If it's a 10, that's an easy sale. Or 9 or 10 is an easy sale. Usually it's going to be hovering around 6 to 8, right? That's the tendency. If you find that it's below that, then you can classify them as a buster. And you've determined that it's not the fit, and you can move on to more productive things, which is fine. A no is better than a let me think about it in the long run.
Absolutely. You want either a yes or no.
True.
That's right. That's right. So using this scale of 1 to 10 gets you to gauge that. And it also gets you to play around with the urgency, right? So if they say something which is typical of 6 to 8, you can ask them, okay, Mr. Customer, Miss Customer, why didn't you say a 2 or a 3? So if they say, I'm really interested in, getting back in shape, blah, 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 the gym that I went to, Planet Fitness, it's always busy, blah, 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 right? Now, when you get to this question on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to reaching your goals and finding a solution for your challenges? They say a 7, right? Well, let me ask you, man, why didn't you say a 2 or a 3? Well, you know what? I've always said to myself that I'm going to start working out, and, I think now is the time to really do it. Otherwise, I'll never do it. And I think that I've found more free time in my work schedule where I can, fit this in. So now they're convincing themselves, and you're not pitching. They're pitching themselves. It's crazy.
Makes sense.
Right? So that's one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, they left themselves room. So now let me ask you, what are the roadblocks that you're experiencing that's keeping you from saying a 10? And now they're going to explain specifically what those roadblocks are, whether it be a decision-making process or, challenges at work or challenges at home. Now, while you're listening, you should be trying to problem solve for them, right? So that way you can present them a solution in your presentation.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is just listening to them talk, and while you're listening, you're taking that in and trying to figure out solutions. So you can align what we do with them, with what's in it for them. Make sense?
Yeah, can you rotate a little bit up towards the first page? So the first page of that questionnaire, can you show me that again? Sure. Yeah, right there. Past interest, if interested in basketball. Scroll down a little bit more from the start of if interested in basketball, and then that one. I just want to look at.
Okay, so are you most interested in competitive games, pursuing training, or simply looking for a place to shoot around? The reason being, we have a diverse market, right? And we have a diverse offering. We offer officiated games, we offer group and private training, and we also offer an open gym environment, right? So some people like just having an open gym environment. Those are typically the ones that are in it for training for themselves, right? Because they're looking to make a team, and they don't really like having other people tell them what to do, but they like working out on their own. Perfect. We got it. Right? Then there's people that are looking for more instruction or someone to help motivate them. Perfect. We got group training and private training for that. Right? And then there's people that are in it for more recreational purposes. I just want to get games in, my guy. Perfect. We got officiated games and non-officiated games for that.
Okay.
Right? So that's getting an understanding of what they're in it for. Right?
Okay.
If they're interested in competitive games, then unpack their experience about playing elsewhere. Where you play now, and how are you enjoying your experience there? Is there anything you would change, right? If they're interested in training, well, what are your personal goals for yourself? What have you self-identified, or another trainer or coach has identified, or your strengths and weaknesses? And what skills are you looking to really develop? What's your deadline for when you want to get this accomplished by, right? And how committed are you to pursuing training and achieving your goals? So unpack everything. And same thing with fitness.
Okay, I got you.
Make sense?
Yep.
And then this bottom page, because remember, once we're done with the discovery phase, we transition right into presenting the schedule, right? So that's why I have anticipated gym time at the end, because it's a nice segue right into the club schedule.
Okay.
Right? Okay, great. So on your last gym, or right now, based on your work schedule and, what makes sense for you, when do you anticipate using the gym? Oh, well, Monday, probably 3 days a week. Okay, which days specifically? Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Oh, perfect. So you said you get off work around what time? Around 4-ish. Okay, and that's about half an hour away. Yeah, exactly right. So I could probably be here around like 4:45. So, okay, 4:45. So around 4:45, 5. How about the weekends? What time do you anticipate being able to come on Saturday? Oh, I'm probably able to come, I don't like to wake up too early, because I wake up early every day. I'm going to wake up probably around 10:30, so I could get here around 11. Oh, perfect. Great. And this person is in it for the referee games. Perfect. So when I segue into the club schedule, I'm just talking about Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We have the group workout at this time. We have the officiated games immediately when you come in. So it gives you time to stretch, gives you time to warm up and shoot around, and then you're right in it. So it's specific to them. It's not generalized.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And it's a perfect segue from asking the anticipated gym time right to the schedule.
Okay.
Okay. So any questions about this questionnaire?
No.
No?
Okay. So I believe we kind of went over some solutions to building urgency. Did you want me to go over that again, the 1 to 10 scale?
No.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So now let's go over the decision making, right? So, sometimes you don't really want to ask that early on, because you don't want to embarrass them and say, oh, I'm not the decision maker, right? Some people have a sense of pride about that. But if you feel that it is a fit, hey, is there anybody else that you would need to discuss this with prior to moving forward, right? If you determine that that's a fit. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to, to take chances. Because if you don't take chances, you're just going to be safe the whole time, right? So sometimes you need to be blunt, right? And so if sometimes they say, hey, I need to talk to my husband, or I need to talk to my wife before making a decision, yeah, makes sense. Let me ask you, because if you find that they found this to be a really good fit and their kid loved it, or they loved it, but they need to talk to their husband, let me ask you, I'm assuming that your husband or your wife pretty well, and you're going to have a conversation about, what you think about it. So what would those questions sound like? So now they're going to take the role of their husband or wife and ask those questions that they anticipate those husband or wife will say. So now you can address it on the spot. And now resolve those issues for them if they feel confident, because sometimes the husband and wife are just going to, how do you feel about it? Right? So they really don't need their husband or wife. They just need to confirm for themselves. So, it's just a level of comfortability. Right? Or you can go so far as asking, hey, I would love to get you, going with this, and I'd love to make sure that this makes sense for the both of you. Rather than kind of playing telephone with each other and figuring things out. Is there a way to connect with your husband or wife right now so he can ask me their questions directly?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's another avenue. And sometimes it is legit. So if it is legit, this actually happened to us recently. Lady said that on Wednesday, and then they came back on Saturday and signed up the whole family. So, sometimes it's a smokescreen, but sometimes it's real. So if we've really learned about their value system, we can determine which one is it. If it's real, I'll work with you. Go ahead, talk to your husband and wife. That's a fair question to ask, but just get to the reality of it. Don't be afraid to be blunt to get the honest answer. Right?
Okay.
And sometimes if they say, oh, let me think about it, or let me get back to you. Oh, Mr. Customer, you know what? That's fair. But to be honest with you, I've heard that a good amount. So usually when someone says that to me, it means one of two things. I know you're a polite guy, and sometimes, polite people tend to want to let me off easy rather than saying flat out, no, it's not a good fit. Or you do think it's a good fit, but you have some concerns about the budget. Of those two, which one is it?
Okay.
So now they'll divulge. Now you'll get to the meat of it rather than letting them get off the hook. Right? Oh, you know what? You're right. It's not a good fit. No, that's fair. So it's not for everyone. But you know what? I'd still like to schedule a follow-up with you. Maybe things will change for your situation down the road. Right? That's one end. Or they say, you know what? Let me keep it real with you. I've heard that. I love when they say that. Because if they say, oh, honestly, or, to be real with you, or to be honest, or tell you the truth, that means they were lying to me the rest of the time, right? So when they say that, oh, you know what? It is the budget. Okay, well, let's talk about that. We have kind of two things that you have to consider. It's initiation fee or it's the monthly. Of those two, which is the biggest challenge for you? What's the biggest hurdle? And they'll tell you. And then you go through your negotiation. Make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Because once they walk out that door, your chances plummet of signing them on. Because they have other things to do in their life. They have their family, they have their work, they have this, they have that. So the last thing they're thinking about is signing on to pick up USA membership. So we got to do everything we can to get them on their visit. Because you already know how difficult it is to get them to visit in the gym in the first place, right? So if we don't maximize that shot when we're in there, it's like, adds an extra hurt.
Right.
So any questions about any of that?
No.
How do you feel about it?
I feel great. A lot of these things shed light on a lot of situations and how to handle things. So I feel really great about the conversation. Awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, what I would encourage you guys to do from here is role play, right? Prepare for those situations. And if you want to schedule another call with me and we can role play together, so where it's really organic and you're not thinking about it step by step, but it's already ingrained in you that this is, okay, I heard this before, I'm ready for it, and it just comes right off really smoothly. You're going to be that much more effective and you're going to make that much more money.
Okay. I understand. I think we're definitely going to role play on our own, and then we'll see where we're at with things. If we need to bring you back in, we will. But I think us role playing on our own, and then me, I just like to jump out there with what I got, man, sink or swim.
That's fair.
It's
like with everything else, just continue self-assessing. Okay, how can I improve on that? Where did I miss out on that? Right. And that's There's no better teacher than falling on your face. That's right. I've done it a bunch, so I'm a testament to that.
I got you.
Any other questions for me?
No, I'm good, man. You answered everything I was looking for.
Perfect. Well, again, I appreciate you guys' time. I'm always here. Let me know if there's a way for me to help. I know Mike and Darren are always there for you guys as well. So.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate you, man. I know you got things you got to do throughout the day. Like you said, you just got off a flight and took your wife to the airport. So I appreciate you taking the time out and speaking with us and sharing your information and your experiences.
You guys are a big part of the team. So anything I can do to help, I'm glad to.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good day. Hope to see those numbers come up.
You're the same.
Yeah, we're going to work it. Today should be a good one. We should be doing good today.
Ron, Natasha posted on an email. These guys are killing you.
That's the plan, man. That's the plan. But we're going to keep working it. We're going to keep prospecting, getting people in here, and then we're just going to take their advice and some of the things that you said that we can apply to the situation, then we're just going to use them. And, you know, we're just going to go from there. It's going to keep hammering away at it.
Awesome. Love it. All right, guys. You guys take care.
All right. Thanks, Paulo. You do the same, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.